written and 1 week video. We'll see how it goes. So last week I did a written content, and you guys who are not native English speakers really like that. So I can understand why. So I'm just gonna do a video this week, not too long. Don't like to overwhelm you guys, but I just want to talk about three basic themes. The first is, do we see how far do we see this going up? Secondly, cryptos, where do we see that? And third, I just want to talk about a stock I went in, and it looks pretty good. Okay, so let's go. So I thought I'd start with the most interesting part of this, right? Look at my portfolio. It's the first time in a very, very long time that I'm almost fully invested. It's like 6% left in like that cash right there. So, wonderful result though, if you don't like cash. But having said that, like someone asked me, I think it's I put it up here, uh does that mean I'm a bit more optimistic about the market? Well, that's a very good question, and I kind of want to address it. So if you look at the S&P 500, it is popping up today, right? And we are like 5% away from 4% away from all-time highs. We're nearly there. Then just after the like 10% drop, right? So there is some interesting things that you can pick up from that. But for me, the more interesting part was really looking at China, and the reason why China was more interesting is because it was beaten up a lot. If you look at this, from here to here, this is a 25% drop. And this is, of course, due to the large Chinese tech sell-off and all that. And it's impossible for me to say it will reach those valuations again. But definitely it's going to be more than 4 or 5%, I think. So that's kind of why for China, I think the value is just better there. So yeah, pretty much that. Looking at cryptos, I think a lot of people look at me to answer about crypto questions. I bought more DOT, and I bought some BNB, and I also bought some Aave as well. It's it's interesting to look at all these chains because especially layer 1 layer 2 protocols, I don't see them being much different. Like layer 1's, Ethereum's the biggest and baddest and most decentralized. I mentioned this many times. But looking at the different layer 1's, apart from Ethereum, the rest of them are mostly centralized. So between the layer 1's, I would say whichever has the most traction. And one of the things that I sold recently was Matic, which is down here, number 7. But just looking at the protocols in itself, I mean, you look at all the different layer 2s that are going on with Ethereum, and there is a possibility that these guys can take over, what Polygon is doing. So it's not that I don't like Polygon. I think Polygon is doing a lot of wonderful things. It's just too hard for me, and I prefer not to play in that space when it's too hard. Just not obvious a bet. And given that everything is going up at the same time, it's a very reflexive market. Means buying encourages more buying. I'd rather not be in Polygon right now. So I bought a bit more BSC because BSC has look at the lot value. It's kind of crazy. And I bought more DOT because I love DOT, and if you look at this, there's not much lot value in there. But that's also because it's kind of new. Moonbeam launched pretty recently. It's already at 189, and this is with a fall, so it's getting up there pretty quick. And I think Polkadot, I won't be surprised to see it between 3 and 4, or some maybe 5. And if it goes up to those like valuations, it's like 10 times the lot value in that. I think the Polkadot price would be pretty good. So I'm still bullish on Polkadot. As you guys know, I'll either make a lot of money or lose a lot of money in Polkadot. Okay, so that's that. And then the last thing I just wanted to quickly talk about is a company I just got into, which is Silicon Simo. I can show you guys on my portfolio. So we went in for about 2-ish% and 2.5%. I added another 2.5% just because I think the fundamentals are insane for this company. It's a really good buy, so I just bought some more. So if you look at the investor call that they just had yesterday, they said that they are having significant backlogs last year. And this is a chip manufacturer. They do SSDs and stuff like that, and eMMCs. So they said they were significantly backlogged last year, and today the backlog remains significant. Means going into this year, there's going to be there's a good amount of sales growth that can come from that, which is great. And if you look at this, they said based on incremental wafer supply, we're able to grow full year by 2022. They estimate they can grow 20 to 30% more. So growth prospects are amazing, but that's not why I bought it. I bought it really because of valuation. And if you guys look at this is Simon Growth Focus. Even if we assume a 12% discount rate, which is kind of high, but I mean, it's we want to get some return for our risk. I always like to add fair value because I think the company is worth something. And I changed the growth rate to 4% and 3%. So this is kind of underneath what the Chinese treasury they're giving, I think. It's a very, very low number, and it's still 50% undervalued. So we have a huge margin of safety for this company. I have no idea why this exists. And I found it because it was a net stock, means again, positive net flow, net cash flow positive, and it's no debt on it. So it's an insanely good buy. So I bought some, and I'm very bullish. I actually wanted to add a bit more today. But of course, it popped a little bit, so it's up a couple of percent this morning. Up 1%, that's fine. But yeah, I think I'll add a little bit more, and I'll probably reduce some of the this ASHR, which is just a basket of Chinese stocks. It's okay, but I think I'd rather be long that. It's really good. So I'll add a bit more to Sino. And I talked about Autohome last week, so I won't go through that. If you guys haven't checked it out, it's on my wall. I gave the whole analysis. It's kind of long, but it's kind of there. Other than that, gold has rallied, so I'm nearly back to break even for Newmont, which is, oh my gosh, it's been a ride for gold. But yeah, I've got no views on gold. Autohome is the one that I mentioned. It's on my wall. Intel's still down. I'm still confident of that, so that's fine. Bigger positions wise, Alibaba has gone up a little bit of a pop today. It's up 6% today, but still underwater. I'm not too worried about this. Thesis hasn't changed, fundamentals haven't changed. I'll just leave it as it is. I know there's that whole SoftBank thing, but it doesn't change the discount cash flow model. Maybe there's some dilution. But to me, I don't see a huge problem in that, to be honest. It's unfortunate because a lot of the big boys, they get to do this because they have vesting rights and stuff. It's frustrating to see the price take a tank because of that, because it does show a bit of lost confidence or some profit taking, which you never like to see. But it is what it is. So I'm still confident in its long-term value, so I'm just gonna hold Alibaba from what it is now. Oil has dropped a little bit, but we've really managed to clip quite a bit of returns from this oil rally. I think oil could still reach $100, so I'm gonna remain long. Yeah, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. It's kind of simple, kind of short, but I want to do more of these, so shorter the better, right? Okay, thanks guys.